send it to you. It's also gonna go on my YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah, I did a mushroom journey. A super intense mushroom journey. I feel like I saw you right after my super, super intense mushroom journey. I saw you at the farmer's market the next day.
Yeah, that was it.
And I was telling you about it. It was so dark and so intense. That was the time that I took 2.5 grams and soaked it in 11.5, and it was like a hero's dose. It was like 5 or 6 grams.
Wow.
It was so dark and so intense. I had a rescue team come try to rescue me in the woods.
You had a rescue team?
Oh my god, this story is so intense. Hold on. So I didn't know what to expect. I took golden teachers and like 2.5 grams, maybe 3. Ground them up. And then I went to this trail that I'd never been to before, and I thought it was just like by a river. Like you drive, you walk down a little bit and there's a river, but it was like a hike to a river in a beautiful spot. It was like all woods, and then you took like a slight right. You know those when you're hiking on a main trail and there's just like a subtle path in the woods? I took a slight right and ended up in this opening where and my friend told me, she's like, take this trail. It's not like the first or second thing that you'll notice, but it's the third thing. This is literally what she tells me, and I'm in the woods. I'm like, okay, third thing. I go, and it's this opening at a river. All rocks kind of like this, and sand and dirt and some trees, and then just river right there. Butterflies everywhere, sun shining down, and I put the mushrooms in 11.5 for 11. It was 111 when I took the mushrooms. At 110 was when I sat in that spot, and I had been soaking the mushrooms for 11 minutes and 11 seconds, and then I set my intention and I did the mushrooms at 111. And it was so dark, but I was recording a video for Anthony because I wanted us to be on a mushroom journey together because I love doing mushrooms with him. So I was just recording a video, like just took the mushrooms, and it ended up recording for an hour. And I put this on my YouTube, and so many people have watched it, but it's me going into a deep, dark trip for an hour. There were times I realized I was eating fruit, and I brought oranges and mangoes and kiwi and avocado and seaweed snacks.
Yeah.
And I started eating the mango, I think, and I was like playing with the mango, like running my fingers through it, and it felt so good. And I was eating it, it felt so good in my mouth, and the mushrooms were just starting to hit a little bit. And then I was realizing, because I've been deconditioning from so many things of like needing to be perfect and all these things, I realized that I literally started saying it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Like none of it actually matters.
It's a good mantra.
I know, it's so good. Nothing fucking matters. Like all of the things that could upset me, I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like be in your present moment, Kira, it's all good. Oh, it served me so good since then, but it was so dark. So I was eating this food and I was going through this whole metamorphosis of realizing that like I didn't have to be perfect. I didn't have to wear makeup. Like I didn't need to be seen at like perfect angles on a phone or anything along those lines. It was just me. And authentically me. Like people see, the only way we see ourselves is in a mirror or like through our phones or through pictures. Like we can't see ourselves the way other people see us. So we don't get to see what it looks like when we're like in complete bliss and in complete joy. We don't know, but other people do. And I was like, it doesn't matter. Like we should just love ourselves. So I was going through a whole Kira metamorphosis of like really learning to love myself and my body and like allowing all my body hair to grow, which has been so fucking hard. Oh my gosh. And that was a huge journey, but yeah, so it got so dark. I was eating the fruit, and then I put the seaweed in my mouth, and I, like, now the mushrooms are really starting to hit, I put the seaweed in my mouth, and I really liked it. I put one piece in.
Seaweed?
And then I really liked it, and then I decided to put all of them, like 30 pages of seaweed, bite-sized pages of seaweed, in my mouth, and then I didn't like the feeling, the texture, so I started pulling it out of my mouth, and I was like, get the fuck out of me, get the fuck out of me, get the fuck out of me. Like, whichever, oh, cool. Like, whatever was within me, whatever entities that were in me. I was literally pulling it out, and then there were times when there was no more seaweed, and I was eating the other fruits, and then the same thing was happening, and I was like eating seaweed and kiwi together, just experiencing that. It was so interesting. And it just got so dark. I was like, it doesn't fucking matter. And then it got so dark to a point where I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs. And I'm like 20 feet away from the main trail where people are walking by. Like, I'm not super secluded. I'm screaming, it doesn't fucking matter, at the top of my lungs. At the top of my lungs. So deep, so dark, like in a different dimensions. This is on YouTube.
That's awesome.
This is on YouTube, so people have watched it, and I've got friends of mine who watch it, and they're like, here, this is so fucking raw and so beautiful. And it's so cool, so it's on YouTube, but yeah, I had a rescue team come for me, so that was happening for 3 hours.
Why did a rescue team come?
Because I was screaming at the top of my lungs on a public trail, because there were a bunch of people walking on that trail, like, it was a beautiful day. I was not the only one on the mountain.
So, like, they were not cops? They were like...
It was a rescue team. It was a private trail, and it was all the way in the woods. You had to, like, hike all the way up to it.
Like, uniform rescue team?
Yeah.
Or just, like...
Yeah, like, ATVs, some uniformed people, the EMS, the sheriff.
The sheriff?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And then some neighbors who lived all the way at the bottom, which was nowhere near it. But I was screaming at the top of my lungs.
When they came?
Well, during the trip, I have to tell you what happened. Oh my gosh. It was so intense. So during the trip, now I'm screaming, it doesn't fucking matter, and I'm literally like my head drops back, and I'm like channeling up to source, and like voices are coming out of me, and they're like, la, 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 la. Like, it was so dark, and all I saw was blackness, and when I was screaming, it doesn't fucking matter, like at the top of my lungs, and there were times when I was like, la, la, and then I would like go down, and I would be screaming, it doesn't fucking matter, and then I would come into my body, and I would be like, because I'm not in my body during this whole experience, I'm completely elsewhere, and I come back into my body, and I'm like looking around at the river, I'm like, nah, I'm like hyperventilating, hummingbirds, hyperventilating, and a second later, it lasts for like a second, and then I go back into the darkness and back into the voices.
Was it scary? Were you like scared?
It just happened. I went to literal source.
Was it like uncomfortable or?
It took over my whole body. Like, it was just it was an otherworldly experience. It was so dark. Like, I feel like I embodied all the darkness that needed to leave my body. So it didn't make me uncomfortable because I was literally the darkness in those moments, just like releasing it all from deep within me, because I knew there was anger in me. That's why I went to do these mushrooms. I was like getting angry at little things and just like really angry about the world and about people not giving a fuck about their health but then dying of coronavirus. And I'm like, it's not coronavirus, it's your fucking immune system. Eat healthy, be a healthy person, get in nature, live an actual healthy life, and you will be healthy. So I was so angry, and I embodied it all, and I let all of it go during that trip. So there was a point, because I went by this river intentionally to like be in water and be naked and be on a mushroom trip, and I thought it was going to be like a fun, cool, like psychedelic, awesome, Kira can just be in her space dose, like that's what I was expecting, because I've never soaked mushrooms in 11.5 before. That was my first time.
That's crazy. I want to try it.
Oh my gosh, you have to. We have to.
Cool. Let's do it.
It's mushrooms with 11.5, it just hits your body so differently. So I got naked at one point, and I went onto the trail. Now I'm thinking that I'm the only person in the world. I'm knowing that everyone is me, and that they're all holograms of what I'm creating in my reality. Like, none of it's actually real, and none of it fucking matters because it's all me. Like, I'm infinite source. I went to infinite source.
Yeah.
And I saw myself die like 10 times. I saw myself in a car accident, running into the side of a cliff and just dying in white light and going back to source and realizing that, like, even though, I feel the niacin now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Even though it was like death, and it wasn't like a suicide thought, but it was like knowing the transition that happens after this and where we go back to.
Yeah.
Because we are infinite energetic beings. When we leave this experience, We go elsewhere into the quantum world. We are infinite source. So this is what I went to. That's the point that I went to, and then I took my clothes off and I went on a trail. And mind you, this is a trail that people are on. So I'm naked and I'm screaming, it doesn't fucking matter. And I've got seaweed all over my face, mango all over my face, screaming at the top of my lungs. Like, if I could imagine what my eyes looked like, they would have been pure black with like black makeup like running down. But that's not, but that was like the energy. And so I look to my right and I see a version of me come around the corner. And I whip my head around and I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter!
Is this on the video? Revisiting yourself? No.
This part is not. That's why I need a GoPro.
Yeah.
Just to have on my wrist like this. And yeah, I need a GoPro. For literally that. So I was laying on the ground completely naked, hands down on the ground, whip my head around, it doesn't fucking matter! And I realized that what's coming around the corner is a different version of me. A version of me that I don't love. A version of me that that I'm scared of. Or like I was expressing a version of me that myself was scared of because I literally saw me come around the corner. It was me looking at me, getting petrified by me. And I was like, everything is me. Everything is me. And then I like climbed. I didn't go back on any trails. I climbed into the woods a little bit towards the river again. Oh wow, I feel the niacin a lot. Whoa, that's cool. I love it. Ooh. So I end up just like in the woods, right by the river, sitting down, completely naked, just held by nature, branches in my face, everything. And I realized that I am Gaia, I am Pachamama, I am this earth. And oh my gosh, I saw myself with a child, and I've never seen that before. I've been like, for a while I was toying with not having a child because I didn't want to bring them up in the system that I was in. I did not like the system that I was in, but now I want to have kids, and I saw it. I saw the whole vision, so I saw myself, felt myself with a child.
Yeah?
Yeah, but like it was more like Pachamama energy, like just nourishing Mother Earth, and like me, I am Mother Earth, and I can have children if they live in nature. So that's why I'm moving to Maui, and that's why I'm creating the community in Maui, because I feel like we need to live in nature, like this, except more naturey, like huge rivers coming through. And like, I have the whole book in there. Actually, I'm gonna get it. Oh my gosh. But anywho, I noticed myself as like Pachamama now at this point. And then I'm like starting to come down, and I come down, and I'm sitting by the river again, and I'm just hanging out, and slowly bringing myself back. And this whole time I hadn't gone in the water, which is, I'm literally like I'm a water goddess. I love water. I do water activations. Water and I have like the most beautiful relationship ever. And I didn't get in the water, and I realized that she was just holding space for me during that whole entire time. And then I jumped in the water when I came back down.
Gaia was holding space for you?
What?
Gaia was holding space for you?
The water.
The water's holding space.
Water holds space. Water provides you like a beautiful reflection. That's why people go to water, is because like they get a reflection of themselves. We are water. We're the same water that's running throughout the earth. So we realize that we're one with it. And yeah, so I got in the water, and then I came down, and then I started coming down, and I was like, I'm infinite source, but I'm like back on this existence now, and I'm like realizing that I create literally everything. And the time and space are literally a construct of the 3D. And my soul lives so quantumly outside of the 3D, but this experience is 3D. So anyway, I come back down to the 3D, and I'm going down the trail, and mind you, as I was coming up the trail in the beginning, there were signs that were saying like no vehicles allowed, no ATVs, hiking trails, something along those lines. And then I start seeing ATVs pulling up, like 4 ATVs, 10 people. I'm the only person on the trail, and I've already come down, so now I'm aware of what just happened and what just expressed itself in my reality, and I see them coming up the trail, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're here because they're looking for a girl, because mind you, I was on this public trail where other people were, and there was a waterfall up ahead. I'm sure they could hear me.
Did you have your clothes on at this point?
Yes, as I was coming down. I almost didn't. Part of me didn't want to. I was like, I am of the nature. I don't need to put clothes on. I'm infinite. I can just walk down this naked. It doesn't matter if I see people. None of it matters. But, like, my life is going to look like that. Right now, I live in a world where people are not okay with nudity, which is the craziest thing. But when I'm living on the land of Maui, I'm going to be naked all the time. Just in the jungle, running around, running in water, playing in trees. Still being able to spend, like, 4, 5, 6 hours a day working on my business, and the rest of it just playing in nature.
Mm-hmm.
I see it all. And like right now I've got like $4,000 or $5,000 months from the Kangen business and sharing like the deeper sides of it, because I'm not like super into the science. So I can just continue to build that, and I've got infinite abundance there, and then I can just play in nature. But anywho, I'm coming down the trail, and these ATVs are coming up with people, and they're like, did you see someone in distress? Now it's Mac is off leash, I'm dressed, I look fully normal now. Like they watched an exorcism happen. They watched a literal exorcism happen. That is exactly what happened. I exorcised all of those fucking demons. And they come up the trail, and they're like, ma'am, did you see anyone? It's like 10 people on like 2 or 3 ATVs. I was like, no. And they're like, where are you coming from? I was like, I was just by the river. And they're like, you didn't see anyone in distress, anyone, like, you didn't hear anyone screaming, maybe hurt, anything along those lines? And I was like, no. So I continued down the trail.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm realizing, I'm like, fuck, they're looking for me. And I need to own up to that. Like, I need to take responsibility for that. And like, part of me was like, oh my God, they're going to put me in a psychiatric ward, and they're going to put me in a mental home, and all these things. Because I talk to people on Instagram who have had that happen, like spiritual psychosis, when really it's probably more like an exorcism. But they get into the state, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go into an insane asylum, because that's happened to them. Their families literally put them in an insane asylum, going through an exorcism like that, and yeah, they just don't get it. I feel like you don't get it until you've gone through it. But now I'm like, oh fuck, that's gonna happen, and then I'm like, wait, Kira, you create your reality. Like, you don't have to be at a bad vibration with these cops and with everything that's happening. Like, if something happens, own up to it. If not, I already told them, and they were going back up the mountain. So I walked all the way down, and at the bottom of the mountain, there were a couple people waiting, and I was like, something crazy happened back there. And they're like, yeah, someone must have hurt themselves. I'm like, wow, it seems like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. So I head up to my car, and then a guy in like an EMS like suit, so like kind of like a sheriff suit, short sleeve, shorter pants, badges, all the things.
Yeah.
And he's like, so, and I just, when he got like within speaking distance to me, I was like, okay, that was me. Like, I know that you guys are looking for me, that was me. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I did a mushroom trip, and it got really dark, and I was really angry, but I'm fine. Like, I'm actually fine, and I don't want you guys looking for a girl out there all night thinking that something happened. I was like, I know you guys are looking for a naked girl on the trail, because that version of me that I saw come around the corner wasn't me, it was a human. It was an actual person coming around the corner, and I literally cranked my head, and I was like, it doesn't fucking matter, and I'm naked and covered in dirt and seaweed, and they literally...
So somebody like came and saw it.
And then I'm sure they ran down the trail and called the rescue team and the whole so I knew what they were actually there for, and I told them, I was like, that was me. Because I saw them, I saw the person, you know, in scary movies when people get petrified and they literally like stop in their tracks and drop back and kind of like crab crawl back and then like turn around and run sprinting in the other direction. That's what this person did. And so I knew. So I'm like, I know that was me. And he's like, must have been a bad trip. And I was like, honestly, it was everything I needed. I needed to let go of that shit. So I wouldn't call it a bad trip, but it was intense, and there was a lot of anger in me. And he's like, well, I've never done mushrooms. Have you done them before? And I started telling him about all of my mushroom trips.
Oh my god.
This southern North Carolinian backcountry EMS, I don't know, like someone in it, like chief or something. And he was just making conversation, and then the rescue team came back down. I'm sure they walkie-talkied him, or them up there. My lips are starting to feel the niacin. And Mac was all the way up by like the main road. So there was like, imagine this here, like is where we're standing, and then there's just like 30 feet up, just like a mountain, and then like a main road that winds around the mountains. Mac was all the way up there by the road, and I knew he was fine, but they were worried about him, and I knew that he wasn't coming down because I still needed to talk to them, and I still needed to come down a little from my mushroom journey, and just like fully integrate in. But like 20 minutes later, Mac came in the car, and I went in the car, and I went home, and I integrated it, and I was super, super angry. But like when it first started getting dark, that whole part.
What did the other people say when they came down? Did they ask you any more questions?
I was like, they came down. I said things before most people did. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I didn't tell you guys. Like I did not expect to see ATVs and 10 people rolling up. Like that shocked me, and I was just coming down from a mushroom journey, and that was me. That was me. I'm sorry. So sorry that you went through that. But everything's good. And I was calm. Like, I was like this.
That is so awesome.
Uh-huh. And then I just drove home and went to Plant and had, like, a 4-course meal at Plant.
Did they laugh? Or were they just like, oh, thanks?
Yeah, I mean...
Did they seem annoyed at all? Or
they weren't annoyed.
I'm sure they were really surprised that you told them that.
And was so calm about it. Because that other version of Kira in the woods an hour and a half before... No. And it had been like an hour and a half since that had happened, since the girl. So they had to have run down the hill, maybe talk to the neighbors, because there was no service up there, run down the hill, get to the neighbor's house, use their landline, call the rescue team. The rescue team comes, and then they need to all assemble and figure out what's happening and then go up the mountain. So it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's a big energy thing. It's a lot of...
I was like, if I don't tell the truth, they're going to have me like on the news as a girl that got like... Because honestly, I could have been a girl who was getting raped and killed. Yeah. Honestly, like with how dark that was, and like for what people would imagine that darkness to be for 3 hours. So that's part of that is on YouTube, where I'm screaming, "It doesn't fucking matter."
That is so funny.
People have watched it, so yeah, that's why I record things like this. I love it. I forget I'm recording. So this is the Maui community that I imagine. So like this is my home. This is a yoga /movement lean-to. And in the lean-to, where you would normally have it be open in the front overlooking the ocean, it'll be open. It'll be garage doors that you can pull up, or you can pull them down. If for some reason, I don't know, you just have the option. And then a sacred ceremony here, a bunch of fruit trees all over, a healing hut for massages and acupuncture and things like that.
You already have the land?
Fire pit. No, but it's coming to me probably by spring.
Cool.
Yep. Outdoor area, community cafe, garden, huge garden. It's going to be so much bigger than that. Zip lines to a waterfall, a meditation tree house, a natural hot spring.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is already done.
Is this everything you're calling in?
Well, it's already done. The universe is just bringing it to me.
Yeah. It's already done.
It's already done. This is basically, it's going to be so much better than what I've imagined, though.
So when are you planning on going to Maui?
When it all lines. Yeah. I can't. I've tried to attach to a timeline for this to manifest, because I've been manifesting this since January. And it's coming. I feel it coming. Like, I'm building. I'm growing. I have a community. I have so many people who want to do this. And I just need to, like, bring it all together. Yeah. When it aligns. But, yeah, a few healers have told my partner that we're going to get land in, like, springish in Maui. I wanted it to be, like, 40-plus acres. But they're saying it's, like, 7 to 8 acres. Maybe, like, 5 to 7, I think is what they said. And we would look at 3 properties. One would be an immediate no, and then there would be 2 maybes. And then out of one of those 2 maybes, one makes me the happiest, and we choose that one.
Cool.
So this is all manifesting and happening.
It's awesome. Come
Yeah.
visit you. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. I haven't
Oh my
been yet.
goodness, it's so sacred. I've airbended and weatherbended and waterbended and so
It's
much
awesome
magic
though.
there.
You got it
Yeah.
all. It's all now.
It's happening.
Oh yeah, let's record a round of breath work. I'm
That's what
gonna
I was
get
just
some more water.
thinking. I wanna, yeah. Where's your phone? What time is it? Is it in here? Or is it out there? I think it's out there. Why not? For this breath, choose one that seems intense. Feel into which one might be intense. So we've done Sananga, we've done Hape. I made her those 2 different times today. Ate such a healing soup that Daniel made. What was it? I took psilocybin on Philosopher's Stone, Philosopher's Rock, Philosopher's Rock, Philosopher's Stone. Stone or rock?
Stone.
Okay, that feels right. Philosopher's Stone Street. Philosopher's Stone. And that's a type of mushroom. And then we've been in the sauna. We took 1,000 milligrams of niacin. I think it's 1,000 milligrams. And that detoxifies you. And what else? We did Sananga, Hape, vaporized ganja in here. I'm using this thing, which pulses electromagnetic frequencies throughout my body.
It's called a Healy.
Healy, I need one. I just did the pure gold setting. I had a water droplet. And I was waiting for one to call me, and that one called me. But we're about to do some DMT release breath. How long have we been in the sauna for? Like
An hour and a half, probably, maybe.
Yeah.
Inner strength. You can
Cool.
do the inner strength program.
Cool.
Has this all been one long video? Do you want to do a separate one for the breath work? Like stop it and start one for the breath work?
Definitely. Yeah, 'cause I can't send a 20-minute one.
No.
29-minute one.